Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we are going to paint a very simple Valentine's Day card so you are ready for in a few weeks time when you can surprise the love of your life with your artwork. So grab your paints and let's get started. Right, so I've got a piece of watercolour paper that actually goes all the way underneath here because I've pre-folded it into a card shape, and it's when it's folded it'll be a 7 by 5 inch card, so of course it's 7 by 10 inches at the moment. I'm not entirely sure why I still talk in inches when we're in a metric system these days, but I just find usually my rulers are all in inches anyway. So on the card what I've done, oh, and just as I say I've been in inches, I'm going to now talk in centimetres. A little sort of squat rectangle that's about 4 centimetres by 3 centimetres. And that is going to be the central label of our rather iconic perfume bottle, because I'm going to turn the rather iconic perfume bottle image into a love potion, I've decided. So all I need to do now is just draw a rough kind of perfume bottle shape around the edge. I don't want anything too specific because, well, all will be revealed. Also, I appreciate this is extremely faint. I will draw a little bit heavier. But really we want our label fairly central and a little bit higher than central in the middle. And then we're going to have the neck of the bottle coming up like that, having a little sort of lip on top, and then the stopper be a slightly sort of wider rectangle, sort of soft edge rectangular shape. Just literally doing it by eye because essentially I don't want there to be too much of a clear cut bottle apart from the label on the inside, because we're going to do it all lovely loose watercolour. So we just need to, for me, to lightly rub that out. For you as well, you want your pencil to be as light and as faint as possible so that we don't see too much of it underneath the paint, and then when you do come to do any rubbings out at the end, that there's only a tiny bit to rub out. So today, in learning this Valentine's Day card, you're also getting a little masterclass in a loose approach to painting glass or cut glass on perfume bottles. So I hope you find this useful regardless of whether you're intending on painting anyone a Valentine's Day card. Okay, so I've rubbed out my pencil quite lightly and I've got my size 2 brush and I've just mixed up some burnt sienna and Paynes Grey. And we're going to be starting off with the lid, and what I'm going to do is I'm essentially using the thin and thick of the brush I have here, the pointed round, to give myself a sort of multifaceted glass lid, glass stopper essentially, by making the most of the unpainted space and also painting in different sort of highlights and lowlights of the glass. So I started with the tip of my brush just outlining the edge and then coming down with a sort of angular brush to pick up some of the paint on there and create a bit of darkness. And then I'm going to come along with the side of my brush and get some really concentrated colour on there maybe. What I don't want to happen though is for a pure outline to happen all the time. We're not just outlining this piece, we want any sort of lines we are doing to have quite a lot of character and movement to them. So we can also use what water and paint we've already got on the page. So you see I've created a little channel with the water there, and I can do it here as well, and up comes a little bit of that paint, and then I'm going to get a little bit of concentrated colour and just get a lovely bleed going through. So I'm quite happy with that. I might just sort of give it a little bit of a smooth out, get a few bit more panels there with some colour in. I did use a tiny bit of yellow ochre, which I was rather pleased with, but we're going to move down now. I'm just going to leave that section for a moment just to let the top dry, and I'm going to continue on, and at times I'll want to just blot off my brush on the kitchen roll and lose whatever I've got. It's the tricky thing of weighing up whether you want control or being able to have a large amount of coverage quite quickly, because we are painting loosely, which means you want to be able to cover quite a lot of distance with as few brush strokes as possible, which means a larger brush makes a lot of sense. However, a larger brush also means you are potentially relinquishing control and not being able to get in the nooks and crannies quite so easily. So I find a size 2 brush really, really perfect for it. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in and just connect these two. And that's all it needs. It really doesn't need too much. However, at this point, personally, I quite like to come in with a really tiny brush and maybe just connect those sides with the tiniest bit. But that's just me. See, I rather like to add that tiny bit of finesse to my loose watercolours. However, I'm really not going to touch it too much more. The only thing we do need to do is find a tiny reflection in the lid of the colour that's actually in the bottle itself, and that colour is a little bit of pink because I've got a love potion going on in here. So I'm back to my larger brush, and in fact I might go to an even larger brush in a second, but I'm going to start filling in the bottle. What's so important though is that we leave this central square completely unpainted and clean. So if you want, you could start by just painting in a very neat line with a smallish brush there, and then getting a larger brush and just creating a bit of wetness, so you've almost created a bit of a barrier, so you've got a sort of safe area as such. So now I am going to begin to paint this bottle, being careful to not paint in over the label. So I've got this wonderful swirly pink and purple and yellow ochre liquid because I'm a big fan of combining yellow ochre with pink, with permanent rose here, because it makes a beautiful blush. Now you can see I'm not just fully colouring in the bottle, I am still being a little bit careful with using sort of little sweeps of unpainted space, and that is because I still want the reflections and light and shade of the bottle. But as I get towards the edge of the drawn out square that I did before, I'm actually going to bring in the dark glass colour. And I don't need this to be a perfect line, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a sort of series of lines that show a bottle that has sort of detail on the glass. And I've got a crumble hair on my brush, which is always good, but because I put in the pink colour initially, it's just got a slight head start on drying, because ultimately we want there to be a blend just like there was just there, but we don't want the pink and the purpley blush colours to be too interrupted by this glass tone that we're placing in here. The other cool thing is you can sort of look at this and go, oh, okay, I think it's a bit wonky at the moment. So you can sort of just add in more lines if you see fit. But that's what we're aiming for, and then we just need it to dry before we focus on the details. Now it's time to put in some wording. I've decided to go for Love Potion number 9 because that was my initial inspiration of the number, the iconic number. So I found the central line, drew out some horizontals and just sort of penciled in, and I think that's just about going to fit. But you're very welcome to do this in pen if you feel like you've got more control, but I've always really loved painting in really tiny weeny detail with my little 4/10 brush. So let's see, this might all go horribly wrong, but essentially I'm just going to follow along the lines that I penciled in, and again, as always, penciling them in quite light so they're not too difficult to rub out if need be. I just use a regular HB pencil that's readily available from any stationery shop, and then, as I always say now, the brushes I use are the ProArt Masterstroke Series 60 range, and I've tried quite a few brushes in my time, but these are my favourites. And the main thing is because the style of watercolour painting that I do is quite detailed, quite illustratory, rather than huge expanses of wash. And so for me, these are absolutely fantastic. And for a long while, I think people outside of the UK struggled to get their hands on them. They're readily available in the UK with lots of stockists, but I'm really thrilled now that I sell a set on my Etsy store, which is a set of sizes that I have curated, I guess. Sounds like quite a fancy word for just choosing some brushes, but essentially it's these brushes from a size 4/10, the teeny weeny one, from 2/10 up to 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and they are everything to me. They're everything I need. So I'm now just going to fill in the rest of the wording, and then we'll have one last look at this gorgeous card. And we're done. So here is the card, and because I'd pre-scored it already, it means that we've got ourselves a really nice card, and 5 by 7 inches in the UK fits perfectly into a standard envelope. So yeah, there you go. Watercolour paper is really great for card making because it's already really sturdy. And yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I really hope you make someone's day by creating them a lovely card just like this. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating these videos that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you got on. And if you're sharing your work on social media, don't forget to tag De Winton Paper Co so I can see what you've done. And if you never want to miss another video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that little notification bell, and you'll never miss another video. Until next time, bye!